Hello, everyone. So we got the Wall Street Journal coming out writing an exclusive. Barr worked to keep Hunter Biden probes from public during an election. The Attorney General knew for months about investigations into Biden's business and financial dealings. And if anybody's been following this and has been following Bill Barr, one of the things they noticed is that there are zero attempts to convict anyone, to throw any snake in jail. All of these Democrats are running around not even in fear because the AG won't do anything. When we read this article, it even says at one point that he received millions of dollars. And that wasn't ever going to be investigated had this not been brought up either. They wipe everything under the rug with the Democrats, and the FBI, the CIA are all pretty much owned by the Democrats. Now, in Hunter Biden's defense, he said that his tax affairs were being investigated. He was saying this in a virtual Democratic National Convention in August. But we really question, is it just tax affairs? And if it is tax affairs, wouldn't it lead down the rabbit hole of questioning Joe Biden, which was taking 50% of Hunter Biden's money? But let's go ahead and read the article. Attorney General William Barr has known about a desperate set of investigations involving Hunter Biden's business and financial dealings since at least this spring, a person familiar with the matter said, and worked to avoid their public disclosure during the heated election campaign. That is a serious knock on Bill Barr. This man right here is part of the deep state. There's no way possible that this man had zero arrests of anyone when his job, we would think, under the table for Trump, so to speak, would have been to do just that. What's up with Hillary? What's up with Obama? What's up with Bill Clinton? Why was Epstein off under his jurisdiction? This man is Bush's ex-fix-it man. And what that really means is that this man will do everything to keep everything hunky-dory in governance. But we read on. Republicans and President Trump have pressed Mr. Barr for months to pursue Mr. Biden, especially as his father, Joe Biden, gained momentum in his ultimately successful bid for president. Mr. Barr has staved off pressure from Republicans in Congress for information into the investigation, the person said, without elaborating on his actions. One investigation became public this week after federal investigators served a subpoena on Hunter Biden. The subpoena sought detailed financial information in connections with a criminal tax investigation by the U.S. Attorney's Office in Delaware, according to people familiar with the matter. Federal prosecutors in Manhattan had also been looking at Hunter Biden's business and financial dealings as part of a broader criminal investigation that two people familiar with the matter described as an international financial investigation that had been going on for at least a year. Hunter Biden is implicated in that investigation, but was never a specific target for criminal prosecution. They declined to provide details on the substance of the probe. The federal security dates back to 2018, the people familiar with the matter said. Neither the Delaware or the Manhattan investigation implicates President-elect Mr. Biden, according to people familiar with that matter. All right, stop, hold. Right now, it doesn't implicate President-elect, because that's a thing, Mr. Biden. Right now, it doesn't incriminate him. But understand that Joe Biden was collecting like half the money that Hunter Biden was getting. So if there's any criminal financial stuff going on, they're going to catch Biden too. Because this was going on throughout his entire family. If there's any justice left in our system, people will actually make this a thing. But we read on. Hunter Biden said in a public statement Wednesday that his lawyer advised him about the investigation into his, quote, tax affairs, and said that he acted legally and appropriately. His lawyer, George Miseries, didn't respond to questions on Thursday. Of course they didn't, because, man, it looks bad. The Biden transition team has declined to say when Joe Biden learned of the investigation, of course. A statement circulated by that team on Wednesday said President-elect Mr. Biden is, quote, proud of his son who has fought through difficult challenges, including the vicious personal attacks of recent months, only to emerge stronger. All right, let's stop. Difficult challenges? As what? As what? This man is getting $80,000 a month from a company he's not even actually going to work at. And he's getting so much money, he can split it with his dad and still go out and buy a car per month. It's a ridiculous amount of money, and he only got it because, guess what? His dad was the vice president. And what's up with the personal attacks? You can give it, but you can't take it. This same group, this Biden group, this Democrat group, went on bashing Donald Trump for 4 years. 4 years. Attacked his family, attacked his youngest child, hunt down every ex that he's ever had imaginable, and tried to dig up dirt. For God's sake, they called him racist and even went as far as to call him Hitler. And Joe Biden's son has had personal attacks. It's been really difficult to deal with these vicious personal attacks. We say get over it, because you've been doing this kind of stuff to one person using the media, your whole Democrat Party, and even doing it nonstop for 4 years to the man's family, friends, and coworkers. But it's not fair for you if you get attacked. But we read on. While the investigations in Delaware and Manhattan proceeded, investigators tried to keep the cases out of public view by taking few visible steps in the weeks before the November election, recognizing the impact their work could have, said one of the people familiar. Mr. Barr was aware of the investigations involving Hunter Biden before the spring, one person said, though it isn't clear how or when he first learned of the inquiries. Justice Department guidelines advise investigators against taking overt actions in a run-up to an election so as to not be seen as affecting the outcome. So understand that your Justice Department, America, will cover up anything to make sure that the election goes off as planned. Their job isn't to arrest any corruptive person. No. Their job is to make sure that the election runs smoothly. At least that's what they believe. This is the problem with our American politics. No one can be held accountable. As soon as somebody does something wrong, the first thing they do is run up to the podium and scream that they want to be president. Because it gives them amnesty. It honestly just gives them amnesty. They can actually pardon themselves. So if they do something wrong, they just pardon themselves and walk out. And we're disgusted with Bill Barr. You had this information sitting on your table somewhere for 1 year, and you waited for the minute that they disclosed that Biden somehow won the election and it wasn't fraud and all this other nonsense. You waited that long to actually come out and say, oh, now we can investigate. Are you kidding me? You made it to where a whole bunch of voters went into voting being uninformed. They didn't know about this situation. There are millions of people right now that did not know about this situation involving Hunter Biden. And now that there's an investigation, an actual investigation on it, now the news media wants to put it out there. Now everybody wants to put it out there because, hey, it's a bygone situation and we can print whatever the hell we want. This is what America is becoming and becoming the banana republic. But we read on. Mr. Trump talked of involving Mr. Barr when he urged the president of Ukraine in a July 2019 phone call to announce an investigation into Joe Biden and his son. Mr. Trump said that he would direct his personal attorney, Rudy Giuliani, and Mr. Barr to contact the Ukrainian president. The Justice Department said Mr. Trump never asked Barr to contact the Ukrainians. The request ultimately led to Mr. Trump's impeachment by the House. Appeals from Republicans to investigate Hunter Biden stepped up in the weeks leading up to the election. After a Republican Senate investigation in September produced a report on Hunter Biden's finances and overseas business interests, several Republican lawmakers demanded that the Justice Department investigate Rep. Jim Jordan of Ohio. The ranking member of the House Judiciary Panel wrote the Federal Bureau of Investigation Director Christopher Wray, asking what steps the FBI had taken to investigate the information in the quote, explosive report. An FBI spokesman said that the Bureau responded to the letter and declined to comment further. On October 19th, Mr. Trump's Republican allies in Congress urged Mr. Barr to appoint a special counsel to investigate Hunter Biden and his father, and demanded that Mr. Barr respond within 5 days. A day later, asked on Fox News whether he supported tapping a special prosecutor, Mr. Trump said, quote, we've got to get the Attorney General to act. He's got to act, and he's got to act fast. He's got to appoint somebody. This is a major corruption, and this has to be known about before the election. So again, we have Trump calling something out, people ignoring him, people just not doing their jobs, and then all of a sudden, oops, we found out about it. I mean, these are the same people that went around saying that Trump was going to get us into nuclear warfare. These are the same people that said he wasn't going to be healthy enough to even last one term, but they went out and voted for Joe Stick Biden. These are the same people that go around and say that Joe Biden's this peaceful guy and Trump is Hitler, but we don't see Hitler throwing anybody in jail. Bill Barr hasn't done his job. If he's Hitler, he's doing a bad job being Hitler. But he warned everyone about not only the election fraud, but he also warned everyone about this Hunter Biden situation that everyone seemingly refused to acknowledge. Now it's something in the news. But we read on. The tax investigation into Hunter Biden was sparked in part by reports of suspicious activity filed by a bank that handled foreign transactions related to him, a person familiar with the matter said. Mr. Biden, a lawyer, has had various sources of income from the U.S. and overseas. And overseas is the key word here, folks. In addition to legal work in recent years, he's been a partner in some U.S.-based investment companies. His earnings from work outside the U.S. included a board seat for around 5 years until April of 2019 at Ukraine gas company Burisma Holdings, where he was paid roughly $50,000 a month for his work. Mr. Biden also did advisory work for China CEFC Energy Company. Of course, again, this is why there are deep ties to the Bidens and China, as the company pursued deals in Europe and the Middle East. And in 2017, he was a shareholder in a venture with that Chinese company as it sought a foothold in the U.S. while a joint venture never got off the ground. The Senate Republican report in September alleged an entity linked to CEFC paid Mr. Biden's law firm millions of dollars for legal and advisory work. So they've already been paid by China millions of dollars for quote-unquote advisory work. It doesn't sound anything different than Hillary Clinton working for the Russians as a speaker. That was her speaker fee. Understand that I'm using the air quotes. I'm using the air quotes very loosely. Mr. Biden is also a 10% shareholder in the Shanghai private equity firm and earlier sat on its board. Though the board position was unpaid, he is among investors who haven't recouped their investment, say people with the knowledge of the situation. His investment was $420,000 for 10% of the firm, which owns stakes in several companies, and guess where most of them are? In China. So again, this article pretty much proves that the Bidens are very manipulative. They're all over the place with all of their money. They do things that are really off the wall, like Hunter Biden going out to a trailer park and he's basing up and he's naked. And this is ridiculous behavior for somebody that's supposed to be of that caliber. And folks, if you can't see that the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, then I don't know what to tell you. This is Biden's quote-unquote leadership. This is his fatherhood even. And not hardly any one of his children know any better than to do these corruptive behaviors. That shows you what kind of quote-unquote leader Joe Biden is. But I think the end of this, the whole entire argument that we're wanting to present here, is that Bill Barr has done nothing but usurp Donald Trump. He's done nothing to help that man or the Republican Party in general. Fact of the matter is, Bill Barr was best buddies with the Bushes. Matter of fact, had ties to Skull and Bones. All of the Bushes actually had a voting poolside party for guess who? Hillary Clinton. Can you imagine an ex-Republican president going out and voting for a Democrat president? Up until Trump, it was pretty much always unheard of. You sign up with your team. For this special occasion, of course, they didn't, and all of a sudden, everybody besides Trump could be bipartisan. Anyway, you folks have a wonderful afternoon, a good morning, a good night, whichever. Please like, share, and subscribe. We really do appreciate that around here. Also, don't forget to hit the notification bell. If you don't hit the notification bell, you might not get our videos. Also, leave a comment down below. We like to talk with you. We like to pick your brain. And if you have any ideas for new videos, go ahead and drop a line down below. God bless each and every one of you. See ya.